Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday. It's time for my live launch party for the Stampin' Up! 2025 Annual Catalog. Now, today has been a super exciting day. I love when new products launch because there's so much buzz and excitement. I've been doing this for 15 years and it never gets old. Every time there's a new catalog, everybody is just so pumped to get their hands on all the new goodies. So some of you have already been shopping. Thank you so much for your orders today. But tonight, I am going to show you some of my favorite products that were available during pre-order, not only from the annual catalog, but there was also a whole awesome crop of online exclusives that dropped today too. So you're going to see some of those because those ones are easy to miss, right? In all the hype of the catalog, it's easy to miss the awesome online exclusives. So you're going to see some of those tonight as well. So it's kind of a huge celebration. We're all about the annual catalog, we're about new online exclusives. I'm going to give some product away and we're going to have some fun. Is everybody down with that? So if you are joining me, whether you're watching me live or you're catching the replay, let me know that you're here. I'm going to do a little spiel for a couple minutes while people are joining in. And you'll want to grab your copy of the catalog and maybe a nice cool beverage. And we will have a great evening together. Does that sound good? All right. So let me talk for a few minutes about the join offer that just dropped today. So Stampin' Up! Loves to do a join offer in conjunction with the launch of the new catalog because let's face it, some of us have very long wish lists. And it would be nice to get a bit of a discount on that wish list. So a new join offer just launched today. So when you sign up as a new demonstrator in Canada, I'm talking about the Canadian offer because that's where I'm based. If you are in another country, you'll have to check on the join offer in your country. But here in Canada, this month, if you join between now and the end of May, you will get $220 of product of your choice for $135. There is no shipping charged on the starter kit. And in most provinces in Canada, there's no sales tax either. So it is an amazing deal. So if you are, have a long wish list like some people, I certainly put in a rather sizable order this morning because we couldn't pre-order everything as demonstrators this time. So if you have a long wish list, this is a great way to save a little bit on your crafting. So if you'd like to learn more, I would love to chat with you. We have a great group. My group is called the Stamping Symphony, and we've got demonstrators from all across Canada, so from coast to coast, and it is so exciting to meet and support each other. So I would love to chat more with you about it, but I'm not going to get into any more. Just suffice to say, it's a great deal and you should think about it. Okay, moving on. Next, what do I have to tell you? What am I giving away today? Well, I'm going to show you ones. Actually, let me flip the camera now. You don't need to look at my face anymore. All right, there we go. There's the catalog. So tonight, I usually give away a stamp set, but I thought it might be fun to give away a set of the new in color Stampin' Right markers. So this is my, let's call it a door prize for joining me live tonight. So if you are in Canada, and I'm sorry, US friends, but don't worry, I'm not going to forget you. Or I should say US, Australia, non-Canadian friends, let's put it that way. If you're in Canada, you have a chance to win these brand new set of in color Stampin' Right markers. Okay, so I will be choosing a random winner from all of our commenters at the end of the evening. Okay, so that is our giveaway. For my American / Australian / European, wherever else you are watching from, friends, you are going to have an opportunity to win one of each of the projects I make tonight. So I have a sample and I'm going to make a second one. You're going to get my duplicate. So one person, one lucky commenter from outside of Canada will get to win all 7 of the projects I demonstrate tonight. Sound good? All right. Look at this beautiful book. I love it. All right, let's see who's here. I've seen lots of people popping in. So before we get into it, I just want to acknowledge all of our joiners. Hi, Charlie. I'm so sorry about your hockey team. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping for a Toronto, Colorado Stanley Cup final. That would have been fun. Hi, Doris. Hi, Laura, Sonia. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for sharing, Sonia. Hi, Julie. Hi, Jeannie K. Jeannie K has been busy shopping today. Hi, Krista. Welcome. Thank you for sharing, Doris. I appreciate it. Hi, Colleen. Hi, Louise. Oh, Louise, I hope you are well medicated. Louise had an unfortunate accident this week and is in a little bit of pain. So, Louise, we hope that you heal quickly and are Feeling no pain tonight. Let's just put it that way. Hi, Alexina and Connie. Welcome, welcome. Hot beverages. Okay. Oh goodness, it's been snowing for days. Oh, Charlie, that's not good news. All right, Terry, welcome. We got Terry and Terry. Terry from Kitchener and Terry from Washington. Hi, Gail and Lucy, Darlene, Carla, Kathy, Deb. Oh my goodness, there's so many. Kathy, everybody's here. All right. Yes, those markers, Louise, are available. So I should thank you for mentioning that. Louise is my fact checker, my unofficial fact checker. So you won't find these markers in the catalog. It's not that they're not available, but they are an online exclusive. They didn't get published in the catalog. So if you are looking to purchase these, you will find them in my online store. Okay. Thank you for reminding me to mention that, Louise. All right. I know, Charlie. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, well, we're going to be up against it too because we just lost our goalie. He had to leave the game last night. So who knows? All right, we're not here to talk hockey. We're here to talk stamps and pretty papers and all kinds of good stuff. So let's get to it. I have a few things marked in my catalog, but I've also got some online exclusives I'm going to share. But I wanted to just highlight some changes in the catalog layout this time. So last year there was a lot of, well, let's just say feedback about the format change of the new catalog, and not everybody loved it. So Stampin' Up has brought back some of the things that we were really missing. So I just want to highlight at the back. So starting on page 98 in the catalog, we have sort of a return to indexes. We all like sort of one-stop shopping to try to find things. So we have indexes that include all of our returning bundles. Good news, now a bundle stays a bundle. Once a bundle, always a bundle. It used to be that bundles were kind of hit and miss if they carried over as bundles into the next catalog, but these are still a bundle. So you can still purchase them at a bundle price, which is terrific. All right. We also have a full index of all of your tools, easy to find. There's your take your pick. That was not so easy to find in the last catalog. There's all our punches. We've got dies in one stop, easy to find. All of our embossing folders, hybrid embossing folder, all of our stamping tools, excuse me, and cleaners, all of our adhesives, all of our specialty papers. And then look at, finally we have back our designer series paper visual index. This one is one I rely heavily on. So I'm very happy that this is back. It just makes everything so much easier to find it in one quick spot. It also includes all of the colors included in each pack, which is terrific. And then we've got embellishments with colors listed. That was another one that we were missing last year. We've got a ribbon index, and then all of our sort of coloring and blending tools. So really, really great layout in terms of sort of the back matter in the catalog. So it starts, like I said, on page 98, I think I said. Yeah. And that's where you'll start to find all of your indexes. So if you're looking for something and you just want a quick reference, you just want to flip back to page 98, and that will be a good start. Okay. All right. Time to get to some stamping. I think I've covered everything. Yes. All right. What am I starting with? Oh, I'm starting. Okay. I got my catalog away. I shouldn't have. Here we go. So this suite, the Florals and Bloom suite, it's on page 40 in the catalog. And this suite gets a ton of real estate in this catalog. So you'll find that there is a lot more, there are a lot more examples and a lot more sort of ways to use the suites in this catalog than there have been in the past. And I love sort of the visual inspiration that gives. So we've got lots of pages, right? Lots and lots of pages that sort of showcase this beautiful suite. So it's called Florals and Bloom. Lots and lots of things we can do with it. So let me show you the products, and then we're going to make a project. So let me, oh, what am I? I need more space already. All right. So this is a mega suite. So we have two bundles in this suite. So we've got one that's all images. It's called Pretty Florals. So we've got some lovely two-step stamped flowers and our stems, and then lots and lots of dies. So we've got the open dies that cut out to the stamped images, but then we also have lots of extra dies to build sort of 3D flowers. I love this. I have used this a ton already. We're going to use it on our project in just a minute. And then the coordinating sentiment bundle includes some large sentiments, a couple of images that can be die cut. And then we also have these word dies. So we're going to use Lovely and Bloom. We're going to use the Lovely tonight. You're going to see that in just a minute. So these really work hand in hand for lots and lots of possibilities. So those are the bundles. And then we have this gorgeous paper. Now, there are so many beautiful papers in this catalog. It's kind of overwhelming. I just have to tell you. But I have to say, if you can only, like, if you are on a limited budget and you're trying to really get the most bang for your buck when you're spending on craft supplies, the papers are the best place to start. As long as you're okay with fussy cutting, there are so many gorgeous images in these papers. You can create so many things just with the paper. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So look at these gorgeous floral images. So we've got some peonies. I think those are peonies. They look like peonies, maybe poppies. And then in the pinks and the purples. And then we've got, I love this color combination. So we've got like cloud cover, shaded spruce, and then this is like timid tiger. It's such a unique color combo. And then of course the leaves are in Secret Sea. And then this, I love this pattern. I love this palette. Here's another nice bright palette, and then these ones are just begging to be fussy cut. You're going to see that on a couple of projects. And then when we flip it over, we've got all of our in color. So if you're looking for in color designer series paper, you don't have to buy the in color family pack. This pack actually has sort of more subdued patterns in all of the in colors. So there is your Secret Sea. And then this one has both Timid Tiger and Darling Duckling. I'll hold that up so you can see. And then we've got lots of shades of green, not an in color. There's our Strawberry Slush. There's some cloud cover in a stripe. And then we've got, what is that? Probably Berry Burst and Bubble Bath, I think, are those colors. So really, really pretty paper. And like I said, begging to be fussy cut. We also have, as part of the suite, the new, what are these called? In color flat pearls. So you get 3 different sizes in each of the in colors. The Secret Sea's up here. You can't see it, but trust me, it's there. All right. And then let me show you some projects. I had so much fun playing with this one. I got carried away with each of these. I spent way too much time playing with each of the suites, and I didn't get as many done. You know what happened? You know how you kind of get swept up in the creativity? So this is one I demonstrated last week. It showcases all of the new in colors in one spot. But I used this suite, both the floral dies, Pretty Florals, and the sentiment die. So I love that color combination. And then here's one I did. So I'm all about the new in colors here. So this one is all about cloud cover and Secret Sea. So there's some of that cloud cover striped DSP. And then here's some Strawberry Slush. So I've used, again, the sort of more subdued DSP and then a little bit of the floral. I fussy cut my images there. And then here we go with Timid Tiger. So again, lots of die cutting. I did a little bit of ink blending to get a tone-on-tone look. And then this one is just that pretty color palette. So I did a little bit of stamping. This cute ribbon is from another suite you're going to see later on tonight. Did a little something on the inside too. And then here's another one in Secret Sea and cloud cover. This foil, look at this paper. It comes embossed like that. It is stunning. I'm going to show it to you later. But yeah, it is absolutely a must-have. This is an online exclusive. You won't find it in the catalog. What's it called? Flower Garden Foils, I think. So pretty. And then one more, a little fun fold. So this is a fun fold I demonstrated a couple of weeks ago in a live at 5, but it opens like that. It's got this little pop-out panel in the middle. But again, just fussy cut images from the DSP. So you can do a whole lot with this, just the DSP in this suite. All right. Okay, let's make a card. Put this aside. So you may have noticed as I was showcasing in colors, I left out Darling Duckling. That's because we are going to make a card using Darling Duckling. So we're gonna make this one. I'm gonna show you how to do it. It's not hard. I've done a lot of the work ahead of time because I got a lot to get through tonight. So let's dump all our bits out here and we'll get to it. So I'm gonna start by showing you this beautiful pressed flowers, pressed flowers, I think it's called. This is another online exclusive embossing folder. It is so pretty. Look at this, just the intricate, detailed pattern that gives you. So I have just cut a 4x5¼ panel of Darling Duckling and then run it through with that embossing folder. And then I have here a whole bunch of pre-stamped and cut flowers that I've done with the Pretty Florals stamp set. So where did I put that? I'm just going to show you. So word to the wise. Okay, again, Lena always makes all the mistakes for you so that you don't have to. Okay, so when you're trying to line up these images, I know this, but I wasn't thinking. So on your stamp case, the images that coordinate are shown together. So you see how these two are together, these two are together, so they are the ones that are supposed to layer. So Lena was having a very difficult time when she was prepping for this event tonight, trying to line up these little flower images. I had my solid image and I had my detailed image, and I could not get them to match up at all. Took me several tries until I realized that I was using this solid flower image instead of this one. I was trying to match these. I should have stamped with these. So just double check to make sure that you are using the correct stamps when you are trying to two-step stamp. That's my little public service announcement for you. All right, so here we go. We've got all our little die cut flowers. Now, the cool thing about these little flowers is they stamp 3 at a time and the die cuts 3 at a time. So I don't know if you're like me and hate fussing with itty bitty dies, especially if you have a magnetic platform and they like to jump around, which mine do. I find it really frustrating. So this way, you're just, it's a single die. I happen to have them right here. Let me show you. There they are. They cut all 3 flowers at once. So quick and easy to cut multiples. Gotta like that. All right, so I've got my little stems here. I'm just going to take and put a little bit of glue on each one of the sort of tops of the stems. So this is my little tip for how to do this quickly. So we're just going to add a dab of glue to each one. And then we're going to take the largest flower. There should be 3 large ones. We're going to put it on the tallest stem. And then the medium one goes on the second tallest. Oh, am I missing? I think I'm missing a flower. What happened there? That's weird. Okay, we're going to use a small one here. That was bizarre. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's pop that off there. Put that one there. There's the medium one. I'll add a little smidge more glue. There we go. And last one, just like that. Quick and easy. All right, now we are going to layer these onto our emboss panel. So this little piece is Old Olive cardstock. It is 1 3/4 by 4, and I've embossed it using that mini corrugated embossing folder. It may well be my favorite new embossing folder. I love it. All right, so we are going to go ahead and add, as soon as I find my seal, a little bit of seal along just down from the top of where this embossed piece is going to go. So I'm just going to kind of lay that there. I'm going to move it down a bit, and I'm just going to run my seal across there. That is going to allow me to tack down my flowers. But before we do, we're going to add some dimensionals to the back. So I'm just going to flip these over. Remember, we glued them on with just a little dab of liquid glue. So we're just going to add these. Dimensional on each little flower. And one more. And then we'll get rid of all our backings. And we're just going to, plant our flowers on the front of our card. Lena is apparently all thumbs tonight. So there's one. And by just tacking the stems down, it's just going to hold them in place. I'm not fussing with little bits of liquid glue. That strip of seal is going to get covered with our Old Olive cardstock when we go to stick it on. So we'll get rid of the last couple of backings here. Pop this on. There we go. And then that is going to layer there. So we'll add a little bit of liquid glue. With this corrugated folder, I find liquid glue is the best way to make sure you get good adhesion. It gets into the little ridges a little bit better than tape does. So we're going to tack that on. And I always find when I emboss with the corrugated folder, it shortens your piece a little bit, right? So if it's a little bit short, just take and press a little bit. You'll flatten your embossing a bit, and that'll just make sure that it reaches the edges. You don't have a gap. Okay. All right. That is going to go on a thick basic white card base, 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2. I have put all of the measurements for all the projects we're going to make tonight in the video description. So if you get your hands on any of these products, you are welcome to give them a try. So we'll add a bit of glue here and pop this on. Just like that. And then we have our pretty sentiment. So there are 2 different dies. There is a sort of a larger die. This actually cuts out the stamped image as well, but it also serves as sort of a shadow for the detailed word die. So I have put some adhesive sheets on the back. I would never fuss with liquid glue on these word dies. They're just, I don't have the patience. So adhesive sheets are my best friend. So I'm just going to peel the backing off here carefully. And then we're going to layer it onto our shadow piece. So I like to just start at one end and just kind of work my way across. That way I can sort of make sure everything gets on nice and centered. It does get stretched a little bit when you're peeling the backing off. So you just want to take your time and get that centered on there. Oopsie, there we go. Come on, work with me. There we go. Okay, isn't that pretty? So pretty. And then that is going to get glued onto our card. And this is just going to get glued flat. So here I am going to use some little bits of glue, but this is a little bit more real estate than that detailed word die cut. So I don't mind putting little bits of glue on here. It's a little bit more manageable. So we're just going to add a few little dabs of glue. And these, of course, are going to overlap our popped up letters. So it's going to lay fairly flat. Just like that. And then on this little scrap, so this is a 1/2 inch by, I don't know, 4 maybe. We're going to stamp hello. So this is from the coordinating stamp set. I'm going to stamp it in Old Olive. So we'll just stamp that on our little strippy. And then I'm going to cheat. I have a long retired banner punch that I'm going to use to notch my ends. I like to use this little 1/2 inch punch when I'm using these little 1/2 inch strips. Makes a really quick and easy banner. Of course, you could do this with your scissors. But did I mention I have a lot to get through tonight? So I'm going to add my little mini dimensionals here and pop this on. Oh, you know what? I feel like I'm going to get rid of one of these. It's going to be too popped. Nope, we're going to take both of them off because it's going to overlap our flowers. I did my flowers a little bit lower on this one than I did on my sample, so we don't need any popping. They're just going to overlap our popped flowers. There we go. And then the last touch is some of our in-color pearls, flat pearls, I should say. And I've really liked doing this little, because there are 3 different sizes, I like doing this little sort of treatment down in the bottom corner. I don't know. Lately, I'm finding myself doing that more and more. So there we go. There's our finished card. You like that one? It's kind of cute. On the inside, I added another sentiment and stamped my yellow flowers once again. Okay. All right. Sweet one. Done and done. Let me set these aside. Make a bit of room, because I got lots more to share with you. All right. Next up is a super cute bundle. So let me bring back my catalog so we can get rid of number one. Number one is done. Number two is just an adorable bundle. Honestly, this is one, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I have to have this because it's different. It's unique. There are so many cute little things you can do with it. Maybe little treat holders, gift card holders, so many cute things. So this one's on page 81. It's called Notes and Totes. Let me show you the bundle. Here we go. So if you were watching last week with my in color feature, you saw me make a project using this this bundle. You're going to see another one tonight. So I hope you're okay with that. So we have this amazing die set that cuts all of the possible bits and pieces you would want in your tote bag. So it's got our tote itself. These are the reinforcing or sort of accent strips. This cuts a little picket fence if you want to help set a scene. You've got two different styles of handles. This is a different style of bag. So you could use this as a shopping bag instead of a tote. And then we've got all sorts of bits and bobs to add to our tote. Got a water bottle. We've got some lotion and sunscreen and our glasses and our scarf and a little tag. And then of course a seashell and a starfish, because if we're going to the beach, we've got to have some shells, right? So really, really cute. And then, of course, we have the coordinating stamp set. So the stamp set has some little images that you can use to decorate your tote, as well as some really cute little sentiments. Okay, so that is the bundle. Let me show you some projects. Some of these you probably saw last week if you were joining me. So this is the project we put together in last week's live. It uses all 5 of the new in colors. Just a cute little tote bag ready to head to the beach. And then, of course, I also put together a card in each of the in colors. So here is Cloud Cover and Strawberry Slush and Darling Duckling. And then Secret Sea. I think I like this one best. I don't know. It's hard to choose. And then our Timid Tiger. And there again is my little pearl treatment. I don't know what it is about those pearls. I think it's because there's 3 sizes. All right, we're going to make another card tonight using this cute little bundle. So let me grab all my bits and bobs. Now there are a lot of bits and bobs for this one because I went a little overboard. So here is the card we're going to make. So cute little tote bag. This is a little bit 3D, so our tote has a little bit of dimension. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. Let's dump out all our bits here. And we'll get to it. So we're going to do our background panel first. So I'm starting with a 4 by 5 1/4. Oh, this DSP, this is the Florals in Bloom. So this is the first suite. This is from that same DSP pack I showcased in, earlier. Okay. All right. So this is a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of basic beige cardstock. And we're going to give it sort of a sandy vibe. Sorry, I'm getting all my stamps out here. We got this little spatter stamp from the stamp set and some Crumb Cake ink. So we're going to do a little bit of stamping sort of all over. And this is about as random as it gets. So I'm like double stamping. I'm not being super careful. I'm not trying to create any kind of pattern. This is really just for adding texture to our background. It's not often you will see me stamp quite this randomly, but it is meant to be very much a sort of willy-nilly, stamp wherever, quick, easy texture background. Okay. Then I'm going to come in with a blending brush, and I'm going to use that same Crumb Cake ink, and I'm just going to shade all the way around the edges just to darken down that basic beige a little bit. I want it to read a little bit more like Crumb Cake than I do beige, but I still like that beige undertone. Now this blending brush, I think I used with Pecan Pie ink earlier, so it's still got a little bit of the darker brown in it, which actually kind of works. Makes it a little less work to get the look I'm going for. Now, of course, you can clean your blending brushes if you are so inclined. I use mine all the time and I am lazy, so I just don't bother, being perfectly honest there. Okay, there we go. There is our background. Now on that, we are going to layer a piece of Thoughtful Journey DSP. So this is still available. This is in the new catalog. Very excited to see a number of papers carrying over. That is new. Stampin' Up! Used to retire DSP as soon as it was the catalog that it was associated with went away. And I'm quite excited because I love this paper. It's so beautiful. So this again is the Thoughtful Journey. This is a 3x4 inch piece. And then I've got a piece of Pretty Peacock that is 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. So you could, if you were so inclined, center those on your card front. I like the look of it being offset a little bit. That's sort of a matter of preference. I'm going to do mine kind of willy-nilly because it's easier to put things on when they don't have to be straight. Just being lazy. All right, now before we glue this one on, we are going to create a little picket fence here. So this die in the die set cuts all 3 pickets and then our sort of cross piece. So we're just going to stick these on. I'm not going to measure. I'm not going to worry about getting them all even. It's supposed to be kind of a rickety seaside fence. So I've got adhesive sheets on the back simply because the texture that the dies cut actually like cuts into the cardstock. So if you use liquid glue to glue these on, you'll have a sticky mess. Again, ask me how I know. Lena is very good at making messes and then remembering to tell you how not to copy her. All right, come here, you. That piece does not want to come off. Come here. There we go. So we'll do this one here. And then this is our cross piece. It's just going to lay across. I'm not going to worry about the bottom half because it's not going to be seen. So we're just going to kind of put that on. And then we're going to flip it over and trim off all the overhanging bits. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. All right, so there is our little sort of beachy background. That's going to go on a little bit cockeyed the other way. So we'll pop that on. Not too cockeyed because I don't want my fence to look really, really rickety. And now we're going to build our tote. So I've cut this from that beautiful Florals in Bloom DSP that I showcased in the last suite. So to start, we're going to trim off the extra flaps. Now it can be hard to see the score lines when you're working with DSP. So I like to just kind of burnish them a little bit so you can see them a little easier. And then it's actually easier to do it from the back side because you're not looking at quite so busy a pattern. I'm also going to cut these little small tabs. These little tabs are here if you want to make a 3D little treat holder. But on a card, they're not really necessary. I suppose you would use them as well if you were wanting to do a gift card holder, but you'll have to come back another day when I feature this one. It will be soon. All right, so there is our little tote. And then we're going to decorate it. So again, all of these little sort of trim pieces are part of the die set. I've cut them all from Pretty Peacock cardstock. So we're going to start by adding our little bottom piece. And then these little sort of trim pieces follow the score line on the front of the tote. So we're just going to peel this off and stick that one on. Where's my other one? Again, I'm using adhesive sheets all the way through here just for quick and easy assembly. And because again, all that die cut detailing does make it a little bit messy if you're using liquid glue. So you're going to want to use something that's not going to ooze. All right, so then we're going to add our little pocket on the front. Oh, look, this has, I forgot I put adhesive sheets on this one. Wow, it's going to be a quick assembly tonight. So this is going to go fairly low. We need to have room to add our handle. And I just want to make sure I'm centering this on the front here. And then our little handle, I'm going to adhere with some glue dots. I'm just going to take and press sort of the 2 corners of the handle Let's do a glue dot, and then that is going to get centered on there. And there's our cute little tote. Isn't that fun? Such a fun stamp set or die set. I love it. All right, now we're going to decorate our little scarf here with just a little bit of a floral. So I'm going to stamp tone on tone. So Petunia Pop ink on Petunia Pop cardstock. So literally just a chunk. And there you go. You've got a flowered scarf. So we can go ahead and add that. Just a little smidge of seal on the back of our scarf here. So there we go. And then we're going to assemble our sunglasses. So the sunglass die, again, it's a single die. It cuts both the solid image, which you'll want to do in a darker color because that's going to be your lenses, and then your frames. Okay, so I've done Petunia Pop for the frames and Basic Black for the lenses. Again, adhesive sheets are your friend. And we'll just pop that on. Just like that. And then that's going to be hanging out of our front pocket there. So we'll just add a little bit of seal and have that hanging out of the front pocket of our tote there. And then to put this onto our card, we're actually going to double pop this. We're going to double up our dimensionals. Now, again, if you're worried about postage, you may not want to do this. You may want to just have them a single layer. But I wanted to get lots of dimension here. So what I'm going to do is put one dimensional on and then layer a second one right on top. And that's going to allow my bag to look a little bit more 3D on the front of my card. So we'll just get rid of these. And then that is going to go on kind of straight, kind of not, a little bit cockeyed. Okay, so can you see how we have a little bit of dimension there? Isn't that cute? And then we've got our little seashell and a little starfish. Oh, look, I've got adhesive sheets on this one too. I went adhesive sheet crazy tonight. I think this was just cut from a scrap that had adhesive sheets on it. I did not do that intentionally. So we'll go ahead and add that little guy on there, and we'll add our starfish with the glue dot. Tuck him in behind our shell. And then I have somewhere, where are they? Oh, did I drop them? These adorable little flat pearls. These are from the Utterly Adorable, no pun intended, suite, online exclusive suite. I don't know what I do with my little pearls though. Well, we're going to finish assembling and maybe they will turn up. Oh, there they are. Look, stuck to the back of my card. All right, so we're going to add these little guys. So 1 and 2. And maybe we'll put one up here too. There we go. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and put that onto our card base. This is a Crumb Cake cardstock base, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So we'll go ahead and crisp up that fold. A little bit of glue. Oops, got lots of dimensional backings there, more than I bargained for. We'll pop that on. There we go. And then we're going to stamp our label. So this is just a piece of white cardstock that I've die cut using the Textured Notes dies. And I'm going to stamp Sending Warm Wishes in Pretty Peacock ink. Just centered on my label here. There we go. Oh, there was a hair on there. Cat hair. Stella was down here earlier. Very, very needy. So we've got a little bit of a floof there. We may have to restamp that later, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add my little sunshine in some Darling Duckling. And then that is going to get adhered to my card again with a couple of dimensionals. I'm just going to put 2 on here so I can pry that off and restamp it later. Don't worry, if you end up winning the giveaway and you are not in Canada, I will not give you a flawed card. I will restamp that for you. See? Cat hair on the ink pad. There you go. Done and done. You like that one? Sorry, that was a little high. So cute. So cute. All right, let's move on. Number 3. Let me just clean up my mess here a bit. I got so much. All right. What's next? Oh, this is one of my faves. Sorry. Getting a little excited. Okay. Here we go. Like I said, I need a bigger desk. Okay, beautiful gallery. Oh my goodness. When I saw this in the catalog, it was like instantly at the top of my must-have list. I love vintage. I love sort of shabby chic, and this suite is a bit of both, I think. Absolutely gorgeous papers, beautiful. Just the layout in this, it just makes me happy. When we turn the page, we can see again another mega suite. We've got 2 bundles in this suite and the most stunning designer paper. So again, lots of real estate in the catalog for this suite. Lots of inspiration and ideas for how to use it. So let me show you the products. We'll start with our bundles. So we have this beautiful motifs bundle. This is the one that I just had to have because it has some really unique dies. You're probably thinking, oh, Lena, we have lots and lots of foliage dies. We don't need more foliage dies. But yes, you do. Because these dies are not full cut out dies. They're actually cut through. So you're going to see, I'll show you, we're going to use do a project with this one in a few minutes, how they work. And they're so pretty. These ones do cut out a full like foliage image. So we get kind of a fern and a Queen Anne's lace. But these 3 are worth the price of admission, if you ask me. I love those dies. And then we have the beautiful motifs stamp set. Couple of texture stamps. Really, they're just intended to add some texture and then some lovely sentiments and very pretty fonts. So that is the first bundle. And then, of course, we have an image bundle that coordinates. So this one is the Gallery Blooms bundle. And I couldn't even get all the dies onto one magnet sheet because we have this large frame die. And the cool thing about this is you run it through once and you get 3 different pieces. You get this large frame, you get the smaller frame, and then you get a rectangle. So you can run it through once and get 3 different pieces to use on 3 different projects, which is fabulous. And then, of course, we've got lots of open dies that coordinate with the images in the stamp set. Love these line art images. They're very sort of vintage and, well, artistic. I love the look of them. And then we have all sorts of extra little foliage dies to kind of create lovely arrangements. And you know how much I love floral arranging, even if it is paper flowers. So this bundle just makes me very happy because I can stamp beautiful images and color them and then add all of these extra little bits to get a really pretty bouquet. So that is, or those are, I should say, the bundles in the suite. And then we have this stunning designer paper. So this is 6x6 paper. So all of the designs on this are really sized to work on a card. Okay, so when we tend to have 6x6 paper, the designs are usually intended for card making as opposed to scrapbooking. Not to say that you couldn't use it on scrapbook pages, but the scale of the images is more just sized a little bit better for card fronts. So we have all of these gorgeous hand painted. So these are all painted by Stampin' Up concept artists. Talk about talent, but look at you can see the brush strokes in these images. They look like they should be hanging in a gallery. And they're very eclectic. So it's not like another pack of floral paper, right? We've got a beautiful landscape. This looks like it could have been painted by one of the Dutch masters. And then we've got a little bit of impressionism here in sort of a stormy fall day. A little bit of Asian artwork with the sort of ink and pencil. And then a charcoal drawing of a streetscape. And then we've got some more florals in acrylic. And then we have some sort of brocade. So this looks like it could be a beautiful fabric or a textile, right? Have you ever been to museums and seen textiles? This reminds me of something you might see from the Middle East. And then more florals. Again, this could have been painted by any one of the masters. This reminds me of Monet. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big fan of Impressionism, and this looks like a Monet painting. And then we have another landscape. And then, of course, on the back of all of these, we have sort of more subdued patterns. We've got washes. This is just a bit of sort of pastel texture. There's some brush strokes in like an acrylic paint. This, again, is a brocade. Works beautifully for backgrounds. Another bit of a sort of pastel, a little bit of a street map. Another brocade. Here's a nice wash. Love this pattern. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. There's another pencil drawing or charcoal drawing, and then another pretty brocade. Now this one, it echoes the coordinating embossing folder. So this suite has an embossing folder called Damask Designs. Now this does not coordinate. So the images in the paper are smaller than in the embossing folder, but they are similar. And this is a really pretty folder. You're going to see it on a couple projects in a minute. And again, just a really sort of subtle pattern, not too in your face like some of our other patterns. So it's really great for this sort of artistic look. Now I promised you I would show you these. So I thought, because I'm going to use it on our make and take, I'm going to show you these beautiful foils. So again, this is not in the catalog. It's not part of this suite. It's an online exclusive, but as I said, I'm going to use this on the project we're going to do. So I wanted to show you. So these are the Flower Garden foils. You get 8 sheets, no, 2, 4, 6 sheets in the pack. One of each pattern in 3 colors. Okay, so we've got this sort of, I don't know, it almost looks like a cane weave. It's really shiny. It's hard to show you on the camera. Maybe if I pull it, there you go. It's like a cane weave pattern. And then this gorgeous embossed floral. And then in the pink, so this is Strawberry Slush. This is, I think this is Pretty in Pink. And then this is Cloud Cover. So you get 3 colors and 1 of each pattern in each color. Does that make sense? It is so, so pretty. Does not show very well on the camera I'm seeing as I'm looking at it, but trust me, you'll see it on a couple projects and you'll see what I mean. All right, a couple other things to show you from the suite. We have this beautiful basic beige ribbon. It's just called Classic Ribbon. It's a nice, it looks like cotton. It's polyester, but it really is it looks like cotton. Does not wrinkle like cotton does and does not fray like cotton does. So I guess it's better than cotton. Looks like cotton, but it doesn't have any of the downside. This is really pretty, ties up nicely, holds its shape, holds the knot really well. That's the basic beige classic ribbon. And then we have these super pretty pressed flower motif embellishments. They are metal and they are quite heavy. If you get your pack and a bunch of them are loose in the pack, is because they've fallen off the backing. That happened to me on a couple of them. I just opened the pack and stuck them all back on the backing and it was fine. But don't be alarmed if that happens, because they are very heavy. And if the package gets jostled at all in shipping, you may find that they come a little bit dislodged from the backing. All right, let me show you some projects. I, again, got a little carried away with this suite. So let's start with the in color cards. I showed you these last week. So these are my paint chip cards in each of the in colors. So your Darling Duckling is in the middle on this one. So Wild Wheat, Crushed Curry, Daffodil Delight, and Lemon Lolly, just to kind of show you where the new colors fit in with our current colors. Timid Tiger is also in the middle on this one. There's Pumpkin Pie, Cajun Craze, Peach Pie, and Petal Pink on that one. And then this one is our Strawberry Slush. Strawberry Slush is here. So we've got Melon Mambo, Fleur de Flamingo, Pretty in Pink, and Bubble Bath on that one. And then this one, we have the Cloud Cover here. And this one, Cloud Cover, is one of those colors. If I covered up this, let me just cover this. Cloud Cover looks quite gray with a little hint of blue. But if I cover up this, it looks more blue than gray. It's one of those crazy chameleon colors. And that's why I laid this one out this way, just to show that depending on what you pair it with, it can look more blue or more gray. It's kind of a cool color. So that is Cloud Cover. And then, of course, we have, why is this here? I'm not sure why that's there. We have Secret Sea, which is at the bottom here. So it's a very, very dark, moody blue. And then Night of Navy, Misty Moonlight. I snuck a little boho blue in there. And then Balmy Blue as well. Okay. All right. Holly, my magnet sheets are actually, I buy them on Amazon. They're just, I think they come like 9 or 5 by, I want to say, or no, maybe 7 by 10. They're large packages of magnet sheets, and I just cut them down and stick them on cardboard. That's all it is. Nothing fancy. All right, let me show you some more cards from this beautiful suite. So here's one. I did a bit of a vintage look. So again, this is all the beautiful DSP from this pack. And then here's another one. So you can see here where I've cut the frame and the rectangle. I popped out the frame and glued the rectangle flat, so it's got a little bit of dimension there. And then here's a fun fold with these gorgeous landscapes. I felt like I had to do something that showcased the landscape. So this is a Scenic Z fold. Opens out like that. And then here's another one. There's that embossing folder that I was mentioning. It's so pretty. And then one more. There's that one. Okay, so there's some ideas. We are going to make a card using this sweep. So let me pull that over. Get rid of the inks that I don't need. Move my water out of the way, and away we go. All right. Laura, the foil sheets are not in the catalog. They are an online exclusive. Okay, so you'll have to check in the online store. If you look up Flower Garden foils, you will find them. All right, so here is the card we're going to make, and this I chose this one specifically because I wanted to show you the cool dies in this suite. So let me pull out that piece and show you what it looks like. So this piece is, what is it, 3 by 4.5. All right, so I've run it through with one of the dies, and you can see that it doesn't die cut out the leafy branch here, but it cuts leaves that I can then pop up. So I'm not going to pop them up yet because we're going to do a bit of stamping and ink blending, and then I will show you how that works. So this is cloud cover cardstock. Now, cloud cover ink was not available during pre-order. It is now available. However, the ink pad is not. Okay, so there's a really long story. The bottom line is Stampin' Up, after they had made a bunch of the ink pads, discovered that the ink was shifting. The color of the ink was shifting, and after a whole lot of investigating, they discovered that it was because of a chemical reaction between the components of the ink and the components of the foam ink pad. So they stopped production. They will not be releasing the full-size ink pad for cloud cover. They are releasing it to demonstrators only, and it's a final sale. Can't return it if you don't like it kind of situation. The re-inker is actually fine. The ink itself isn't a problem as long as it's not combined with the foam from the pad. So the solution is to ink up one of our uninked Stampin' Spots with the re-inker so that you have access to cloud cover ink. Now I'm actually going to offer a promotion. It's going to start tomorrow, but if you decide to place your order today, I will honor it, where I will give everyone who places an order of $75 or more a free cloud cover Stampin' Spot that I will create for you using an uninked spot and a re-inker. Okay, so that'll be my thank you gift to you, so you have access to this fabulous ink. All right, so this is one of the image stamps, the Queen Anne's Lace image that is in the beautiful Motifs stamp set. I'm going to ink it up with some Lost Lagoon and then stamp off. And then I'm just going to stamp right across my image here. I'm not really trying to be super careful. I'm going to do a double stamped off, just like that. Okay, then I'm going to come in with a blending brush, and I'm using, again, Lost Lagoon ink. This is not cloud cover because cloud cover was not available at the time I created this card. So the Lost Lagoon works. It's quite a bit darker, obviously, than the cloud cover and a little bit more blue, but in a pinch, it works. So we're going to go ahead and just darken this down a little bit, just to provide some contrast against our background. Okay, there we go. All right, now we are going to assemble. So I have my background panel is a piece of that gorgeous DSP. It is 4 by 5.25 inches. It's almost a tragedy to cover up those roses, but I really like this pattern. So that's, as I said, 4 by 5.25. And then we have some of that beautiful Flower Garden foils. So this is the cloud cover. This piece is 3.25 by 4.75. And again, I'm doing the cockeyed thing. Not a lot cockeyed, just, ooh, that feels like it's too big. Oh, no, it's right. Okay, my eyes are just deceiving me. So we're going to go ahead and put that on. Whoopsie, got a sticky note that I did not want. So we're going to pop that on just a little bit cockeyed. And then we're going to adhere our cut through piece. So I'm not going to worry about popping these up right now, but I am going to make sure when I glue this, I'm only going to glue around the edges. I don't want to glue my little die cut leaves there. Okay, so I'll put that on. Now, as always, when you are adhering liquid glue onto like foil or anything that's a little less porous, it does take a little longer to set up, but that's okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my leaves and I'm just going to add some mini dimensionals. I'm going to tuck them in. Oopsie, come here, you. Under the leaves. Peel off my backing. And that's just going to sort of make them stand up just enough to give some really interesting dimension to the front of my card here. And we'll tuck another one under here. And we'll do this larger leaf. Okay, and then I'm not going to pop up all of these smaller leaves, but for them, you're going to want to use a half mini dimensional. Do I have any half minis? There's one there. Just because they're a little bit too small to get a full-size mini in behind, and you don't want to see it peeking out. So there's one. Another one behind here. I can probably get a full mini in behind that guy. Okay, so you could pop up as many of these leaves as you would like. I mean, you could do all of them if you were so inclined. I'm not going to take the time to do that because, like I said, I have a lot to get through tonight. But let me just trim a couple more half minis so I can tuck a couple more in here. And then we'll finish this up. So one there. And we'll do this guy over here just to balance things out. There we go. Okay, so you can see that we've got that lovely sort of cut through dimension on a card front. All right, let's finish this off. We're going to add the die cut Queen Anne's lace. So this is just die cut from basic beige cardstock, again with the adhesive sheets on the back. Makes it super easy to stick these down. These are really, really delicate die cuts, and there's not a lot of real estate for glue. So the adhesive sheets really do make things much easier. So we're just going to layer that over our leaf image. And then that is going to get glued onto our cloud cover card base. Once again, 4 1/4 by 11. I don't know. The first bunch of cards are all the same dimensions for my card base. I was on a bit of a roll with the portrait tent style, but that's okay. We'll get to something else eventually. So a little bit of glue on the back here. And we'll pop this on. There we go. And then our sentiment, we're going to stamp in Lost Lagoon ink as soon as I find it. It's still in my little baggie here. So we're stamping Thinking of You. Again, these are from the coordinating stamp set. Gallery Blooms, I think it's called. And we're going to stamp in Lost Lagoon ink. This little label die is from the Beautiful Butterflies, in case you are wondering where that one came from. And then I'm going to grab my basic beige ink and my little bow that I've already tied. Forgot my ribbon scissors. And we'll use this cute little bow on our card. There we go. And I might make it a teensy bit smaller there. A little bit big. There we go. Okay, so a glue dot on the end of our label. And then onto our bow. And then a couple of dimensionals, which I throw on the floor. Oh, those are black dimensionals. We don't need the black dimensionals. Where are my regular ones? There they are. Tuck a couple of these in. And pop that on. Again, the nice thing about doing this offset is if you get your sentiment a little crooked, nobody will notice. It's great. And then the last touch is a couple more of our flat pearls here. So we'll go, do I want a big one? Oh, sure, why not? We'll use one of each size. There we go. Done and done. You like that one? Not pretty. Now on the inside, I stamped my Queen Anne's lace, added another sentiment, and then a little bit of scrap of the DSP to finish it off. Okay, there you go. That's that one done. We'll get this mess cleaned up and move along. Okay. Got to keep all my naked pigs together because if I lose them, somebody will be unhappy with me. All right. Moving along. Clean up my mess. So much stuff. What's next on my list? Oh, we're going to move into an online exclusive. Okay. So this one I can't show you in the catalog because it's not in the catalog. Now, I mentioned off the top that there are some amazing online exclusives that dropped along with this catalog. And honestly, I got to say that I think I like the online exclusives as much or better than what's in the catalog. So this bundle called Sweet Jar is one of the online exclusives that just launched today. And it is so, so cute. Now I'm going to flip this over so you can actually see the jar. It makes like a little candy jar or cookie jar. So we've got the lid and the jar, coordinates with the stamp set, and then lots of things that we can fill our jar with. Super cute bundle, reasonably priced. It's a punch and stamp bundle. And let me show you some cute projects. So again, you saw some of these last week if you joined me. I'll start with the one that I demonstrated. That was our little good luck card featuring all 5 of the in colors, little rainbow action. And then we've got our in color cards. So there's our Secret C. Sorry, I'm a little high there. We've got our darling Duckling, Timid Tiger, Strawberry Slush, and I'm waiting for my cloud cover ink to do my cloud cover card because I did not have my cloud cover ink yet. It's coming. Hopefully by Friday. I expedited my order. So hopefully it'll be here by Friday. And then here's another one. I had a little fun with this. There is my jar full of candles, shining bright, sending a little party your way. Fun, fun, fun. And then on the inside, there's my little happy birthday. We're going to make a card with this one. So here's my little bake shop with jars full of chocolate chip cookies. So I was inspired a little bit by the opening of the new crumble cookie in Guelph. We were all a little excited about that store opening. We are crumble addicts and we've been driving to Mississauga to get our fix. So now it's 5 minutes from my husband's work, which is extremely convenient. So I'm going to show you how to put this one together. So again, I need to make more room because I got lots of bits here. Okay. So let's pull this out. So to start, I'm going to build my little awning on a 4 by 5¼ inch piece of white cardstock. Okay, so I have gone ahead and die cut several of the smallest arch from the Everyday Arches dies. I've cut 2 from Basic White and 2 from Strawberry Slush, and then I've taken and cut one of those Strawberry Slush ones in half. Okay, so that's going to allow me to build my awning across the top of my card. So I'm going to start by just adhering my little, what are these called? Arches across the top. Now I only want my my awning to be 2 inches. I don't want it to be the full length of the arches, or I'm not going to have enough room for my cookie jars. So when I'm doing this, what I'm going to just kind of pay attention, and I want to make sure that I'm only going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to put just a little, where's my pencil? I don't know what I did with it. Hang on. I'm going to put a little pencil mark here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that is as far as I want my awning to go. That means I'm going to probably pay attention to that line on my grid paper to make sure that everything's nice and straight. All right, so I'm just going to start just a little liquid glue. Liquid glue is your friend, again, when you're trying to get things lined up and precise. So I'm going to start with one of my half Strawberry Slush arches. And then we'll do a white one. And I'm just trying to line those up across the top. It's hard to see because I can't look straight down, so they may be not as aligned as I might like them. You're just going to have to live with it. Sorry, folks, if it's not perfect. All right, there we go. And then another white one. Oh, come on, stay there, you. And then finally, our last half strawberry slush, and there's still cat hair on my desk. We have two very, very, very needy cats who are shedding like crazy. All right, so I'm going to flip this over and trim off the overhang here. Just with my snips. You could use your trimmer if you wanted to, but this is just as fast. And also it would require me to have space on my desk for the trimmer, which I do not right now. All right, there we go. So there's our little awning. Now we are going to stamp our cookies. There's going to be 2 jars that are stamped directly onto our card or our white panel. And then the last one is going to get popped. So what I'm going to do, this is a piece of that Florals in Bloom DSP. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to lower it just a little bit, and I'm probably going to flip it over just because I don't want to get ink accidentally on the side that I want to use. So we're going to start by stamping our images. Where's my crumb cake? It's buried. Where'd you go? How did a second go? Where'd you go, crumb cake? There it is. All right. So I'm using crumb cake and early espresso to stamp my cookies. And what we're going to do is start with this sort of solid image. Okay, so I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to stamp off. Oh, cat hair on the stamp once again. Good gravy, these cats. So I'm going to stamp towards the bottom here. Once. Ink. Stamp off again. And twice. And I don't need to worry too much if these are not perfect because most of the image is going to get covered with my popped up jar. Okay, so then we have our cookies. These could also double as jelly beans. But I'm going to stamp this. I don't need my DSP on here anymore, but I do need to move it closer so I can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm inking this and stamping it full strength right over top of the image I just did. Okay, now you could skip the first image if you were so inclined. I just like that it gives a little bit more depth to my cookies. Okay, you don't have to do that. You can just have the cookies without the sort of more solid image in behind. And then we're going to stamp our chocolate chips. So we have our little, it looks like a spatter stamp, but they're actually little chocolate chips that line up with our cookies. Okay, I should probably be doing these all. I have to do this all again to do my jar to pop up. Too busy talking. All right, now I need, where did I put my, I don't think I brought my gray granites. We are going to stamp our jar in gray granite. It's kind of a gray with a brown undertone. So that'll work with our little color palette here. So I'm just going to center my jar as best I can while not looking straight down around my cookies. There we go. All right. I'm going to set this aside for a minute and then we're going to do this all again so we can pop it up, or pop it out, I should say. Let's go back to the crumb cake. Should have been doing this all along. Sorry, girls. A little distracted today. All right, so there is our solid. And then our cookies. And then our chippies. And then our jar. Okay. So we're going to pop this one out. So I'll bring in my punch. And we'll line up our jar. Put that out. And then we're also going to stamp our lid. So we're going to stamp our lid directly onto the jar's our card front. I'm using pecan pie. It looks like a copper lid to me. Until I find it. There it is. So we'll add one. Ooh, that looks very dark. It will lighten up. And two. And then I'm going to just punch one of these out as well. Where did I put my lid? My punch. We'll just pop that out. There we go. All right, let's assemble our jar here. So I'm just going to put a teeny bit of liquid glue along the top edge of my punch jar. Come here. It never fails when you want to get just a little bit. You get a whole big glop. So we're just going to massage that around so that it spreads a little bit because I got a little overzealous with the glue. There we go. There's our jar. Oh, cookies. All right, so before we glue that on, we're going to go ahead and add our DSP onto our card front here. So we'll add that. And then we're going to add a little bit of strawberry slush baker's twine. So this is part of the On The Go suite, which I featured a few weeks ago. Comes in a 3-pack. You've got strawberry slush, Azure Afternoon, and Shy Shamrock, I think, in that baker's twine pack. And conveniently, this works really well with my little card here. So I thought I would pull some of it out. And also, I don't have my in color ribbon yet. It was not available for pre-order, so it is on its way. I'm very excited to get all the rest of the in color items. So the DSP and the ribbon and the blends and all the things. If you're anything like me, you like to have complete sets. So it was bothering me that I didn't have those right off the hop. All right, let's add our jar now. We're going to pop that up. Couple of dimensionals. And that's just going to get centered in our little bakery window. And then our sentiment, I've just got a couple of punched circles here. 1 3/8 is the white, and then 1 1/2 is the pink. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp sending a little in pecan pie, just centered on my little white circle here. And then I'm going to stamp sweetness in strawberry slush. I love that they have designed these stamps to be able to do two color sentiments without having to worry about, you know, masking or using your markers or whatever. It just makes it super quick and easy. All right, so layer our circles. Just like that. And then that is also going to get popped up, but we're only going to put dimensionals where the jar is not, because the jar is already popped, right? So I'm going to put above and below, and then add just a smidge of seal so that where it overlaps the jar, it adheres as well. We'll pop that on. And then last, well, not last, we do need to put this on a card base, but we're going to add a little baker's twine bow. So I'll grab a glue dot, roll us a little glue booger. Whoops, where'd that go? There it is. We had a runaway booger. And that is going to tuck just underneath, and our twine will tuck in there, just like that. There you go. And then that's going to get glued onto a 4 1/4 by 11 inch basic white card base, scored at 5 1/2. We'll crisp that up. And then a little bit of glue. And we'll pop that on. Just like that. And then the last touch is to add some of our in color pearls once again. So this time we're going to do our 3 in a row, but we're going to go, oh, that did not stick. Why did that not? I didn't burnish that very well. We're going to go small, medium, and large. There you go. Cute little thinking of you card. Actually, this was a birthday card, I guess. I stamped happy birthday on the inside, so I guess it's a birthday card. Could be anything, right? Sending a little sweetness your way. Could be a congratulations. Could be a have a good day. Could be just about anything with that sentiment. All right. That's, how many is that? 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's only 4. Oh boy, we got to keep rolling. All right. Moving on. We're sticking with the online exclusives for a minute or two. And I'm going to show you the Scenic Adventures bundle. This one, there's no make and take, but I wanted to show you the bundle, because it's another wowza. And again, because it's an online exclusive, super easy to miss if you're not looking for it. So if you struggle with masculine cards, or you have someone in your life who is an outdoors person, loves hiking and camping and just being outdoors, this is a fantastic bundle. So we have, well, let me start with the dies because they were my favorite part. The dies are all designed to build scenes, and they layer. So I'll show you some cards in a minute. I'll explain how the layering happens, but they are really quite ingeniously designed. So we've got our mountains, we've got our tree line, we've got our sort of shrubbery, we've got water, we've got some florals, and then we've got some additional trees and a campfire. Look, the logs and the fire for the campfire. Super, super pretty. Pretty? I don't know. Can masculine cards be pretty? I think they just make beautiful nature scenes. And then, of course, we've got the sentiments to kind of go with it. So let the adventure begin, breathe and take it slow, cheers to another adventure. Just really, really great sentiment. So this is called Scenic Adventure. Again, it's an online exclusive. Let me show you some samples that I put together, and you'll see why I'm so excited about this. So here is one. So I've stamped my clouds in or on the cloud cover cardstock. Then I actually die cut the mountains from that same piece and pop them up. So there's some dimensionals in behind there. I did a little bit of ink blending to make them stand out against the sky. Then my tree line is cut from Mossy Meadow. My shrubbery is cut from Old Olive. And then my water is Secret Sea. Okay, so isn't that a beautiful like mountain scene? Okay, and then here's a portrait version, similar. I've added some little flowers growing along the shore of my water. And this time I stamped the water rather than die cutting it. So stamped my cloud, stamped the water, all on cloud cover cardstock, and then added my layers on top to create my scene. Okay. And then one more. This is my favorite. I love this. This just reminds me of camping in the summertime. So we've got sort of a dusk sunset scene, campfires burning, and just breathe. Can't you smell the campfire? Like, oh, I cannot wait for summer. But I just thought I love this scene. So I actually did my ink blending on a piece of Darling Duckling cardstock to start. Having that colored base makes blending the colors faster and easier. So believe it or not, you're probably not going to believe me, but I blended with Timid Tiger and Cherry Cobbler on Darling Duckling. Then on this part, this is one single arch. Okay, this part actually blended with Secret Sea. So Secret Sea on Darling Duckling looks an awful lot like Mossy Meadow, I gotta say. Like I layered it on the Mossy Meadow cardstock and went, huh, how about that? So Secret Sea ink on Darling Duckling cardstock equals Mossy Meadow. Okay, and then I should show you this little die here. Cuts a little peek through so we can have our stars and moon twinkling in the sky. Isn't that, I love this card, and it makes me want to go camping. I just love it. All right, so that is the Scenic Adventure Bundle. Again, don't miss it. It is an online exclusive, easy to just totally miss. All right, what's next? Oh, we get to play with turtles. All right, let's go back to the catalog. Turtally cute. Okay, so I have to confess, when I first saw these guys, I was like, they're cute. Don't really need them. And I didn't pre-order them initially. I was like, yeah, they're okay. I can wait, or, you know, I may not get them at all because, you know, I don't have a lot of little people in my life to make turtle cards or kitty cards for anymore. But oh goodness, how wrong I was. So this suite, it doesn't, yeah, it starts here. It doesn't get quite as much real estate as the other suites, I think, because it's sort of kid themed. But there is a coordinating scrapbooking workshop kit that goes with this as well. So there's a lot you can do with it, and it's so stinking cute. And honestly, once I started playing with the turtles, it's like paper dolls, but they're turtles. I'll show you in a minute. But super, super cute. Love these little scenes. I'm going to show you a bunch of projects. Again, got a little carried away with this suite. It starts on page 48 if you're looking at your catalog. But let me show you the products and you'll see why I'm so hooked on it. Grab my pile. Yeah. All right. Let's start with our bundle. So Turtally Awesome. I think is a great little punny name for a stamp set. We've got these cute little guys here. Lots of sort of little bits and bobs to embellish them with, and then some punny sentiments. It's your birthday. I hope your birthday is totally awesome. I love this. It's okay to take it slow. This is like this is should be my my life motto, my mantra. That's what I'm trying to say. I just think it's so cute. And of course, we've got our little microphone and music notes, and I am a sucker for anything musical. So yeah, I ended up getting the whole suite. So, you know, that's just, I'm twist my rubber arm. So in the dies, we have the open dies that cut out the stamped images, but these two guys actually cut the arm out so you can dress or decorate your turtles. I'll show you in a minute what I'm talking about, but it's quite ingenious. We have some little pieces that we can decorate our turtles with. So we've got an apron and a chef's hat and a sun hat and a watering can, a banjo. We can have our turtles playing banjos. Just super cute. So that's the bundle. And then of course we have just utterly adorable DSP. So this DSP is, again, if you can only afford one thing from the suite, the DSP is it, because you can do so many things with just the DSP. So we have one pattern in the pack that has these panels. So these are 3x4, and then these are all 4x6 to make our little scenes. And then we've got some extra little bits that I actually used on the insides of cards. I'll show you in a few minutes. So we've got little scenes that we can have our turtles, you know, having a picnic or playing on stage or whatever. And then there's different themes on each of the sheets. So this is our birthday theme. So we've got lots of birthday turtles. We've got our beachy barbecue. So lots of cute imagery on that one. I love this guy with the towel. I think it's so cute. And then we've got sort of our picnic or park pattern. And then this is my fave. For obvious reasons, we've got our little musical turtles. I love this little guy playing the trumpet. And then we've got sort of our adventurer or hobbyist. Maybe this is the retiree. So we've got our gardening turtle. We've got our bird watcher and our beekeeper. Just super cute. Now I have to say, even if you are not a fan of fussy cutting, these are not hard to fussy cut. Some of the images can be die cut using the dies, but they're not hard to fussy cut at all. Now, when we flip these over, we get some more generic patterns. We've got a stripe in shades of green. We've got this fun sort of turtle mosaic. And so that one's in shaded spruce. And then we've got a sort of smaller in the granny apple green. And we've got a stripe, sort of a rainbow stripe. Of course, yellow music notes. Lena's a sucker. You know I had to have this paper. And then we've got some colorful polka dots. So just really fun paper. It's hard to stop once you start playing with all of these little turtles. I'll show you some projects in a sec, but first, more product that's part of the suite. So we have the Turtle Textures embossing folder. You're going to see that on the project we're going to make in just a minute. And then we have, what are these called? Shades of green hexagons. So 2 sizes in 4 different shades of green. And then we have this, what is this, 1/2 inch? Yes, 1/2 inch bordered ribbon. So it's double-sided. One side is shaded spruce. The other is soft seafoam. It is satin ribbon. So if you've ever worked with satin ribbon, you know that satin ribbon will slide. So when you tie your bow, you can make the tightest knot you possibly can. And if you don't add a little bit of glue to hold it, or a glue dot or something, it will slide. Okay, so just a word to the wise. And because it's double-sided, you gotta sort of manipulate to get your bow having matching tails. It's not hard to do, but that's just an extra step. But you do need to put a little something on the back to make sure that it stays put. Okay, it will slide. All right, so that is this cute, cute ribbon and cute, cute sweet. Let me show you some projects. Again, I got a little carried away. I think I spent all of Saturday playing with this sweet. So fun. All right. So here we go. So here's our little baker turtle. Hope your birthday is turtly awesome. There's that embossing folder in the background. And then there he is on the inside, peeking in. This is just the edge piece from the DSP. And then I couldn't resist doing a barbecue Father's Day card. So we've got our barbecue turtle, barbecuing some fish for Father's Day. And so that sentiment is, I think, from Trusty Tools. And then here's a birthday card, a musical birthday card with our trumpet playing turtle. Again, all from the DSP. Okay, and then there's our little baker dude in there as well. And then these ones I made using those scene panels. So here is my little musical turtle jamboree. This is an easel card, so it pops up like that. I have lots of musical people in my life that I could give this one to for their birthday. And then here's our beachy turtle hanging out, ready to go for a dip. Again, all of these images are fussy cut from the DSP. And there's what that little strip, remember, from the panels that I said? They work really well to decorate the inside of your cards. And then there's my picnic turtles, taking it slow, enjoying some ice cream in the park. And then finally, this is going to be me in about 6 weeks, watering my flowers and just watching the birds as I retire on June 27th. I'm just a little excited about that. So super cute. Oh, and of course, look at, I did a retirement card. I made myself a retirement card. It's okay to take it slow. Happy retirement. I'll just have to give that to myself. All right. So there are some ideas. Now let's make a card. I'm just going to take a quick sip of water. Lots of talking tonight. It's a good thing I don't have to teach tomorrow. All right. And so the card we're going to make is this one. So again, all of my images are fussy cut from the DSP. So I wanted to show you how much you can do with the DSP and just have lots of fun with it. All right, so let's put this guy together. I want to show you, there is that turtle textures embossing folder. It's pretty fabulous, even if you're not into turtles. It's just a really fun pattern. It would be great for, you know, teen cards, masculine cards, something fun and funky. So we're actually going to glue that directly onto our card base. So this is a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of shaded spruce cardstock. And then I've got a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of shaded spruce that I've scored at 4 1/4 to create my card base. So I'm going to fold this in half along my score line. I'm actually going to unfold it. And by doing that, it gives me a really clear line so that I can line up my embossed panel to cover my entire card front. So we'll add a little bit of glue here. And we're going to pop this on and just take our time to line that up so it covers the entire card front. And this is just because I don't like seeing the embossing on the inside of my card. I like having a clean look on the inside. So if you're wondering why I'm layering the same color, that's why. It's just a matter of personal preference. Okay, so that is that. Then we are going to layer a piece of the DSP. So this is, what is it, 3.5 by 4 3/4. So it's the musical guys on the back, but I'm going to use that fun sort of texture pattern. And we're going to layer that on a piece of crushed curry cardstock that is 1/8 of an inch larger. So what did I say this was? 3.5. So this is 3 5/8, but measurements are all in the video description. So we'll go ahead and layer that. A little bit of glue. Oh, didn't get anything on that end. There we go. Pop that on. Okay, and then that is going to get adhered to our card base. Again, I'm using liquid glue here because I am working with embossed cardstock. I just find the liquid glue adheres a little bit better than the tape or seal. So I'm just going to flip that over, give it a good burnish, make sure that that is well adhered. And then I've got 2 arches cut from Basic White and Crushed Curry. They are going to layer just like that. But first we're going to stamp on our white arch. So I'm going to stamp using Shaded Spruce ink. And I'm stamping, hope your birthday is turtly awesome, dude. There we go. I'm stamping it towards the top because I need room for my little reclining turtle here. So here's my little guy. So this guy was die cut from the DSP. He coordinates with the die. And then I have a little birthday cake, also die cut. So we're going to adhere that to his belly there. Just a little bit of liquid glue. Pop that on there. And then we're also going to give him a party hat because, you know, he's celebrating. And for this, I'm actually going to use a bit of seal because my liquid glue is not cooperating tonight. There we go. There's our cute little turtle. So we're going to pop him up on our arch. So we're just going to do 1, 2, 3. Maybe we'll put a mini on the cake just to make sure that it stays put. There we go. Get rid of all of these little bitties. And then he's going to kind of be coming off the edge. Just like that. And then that is going to get glued onto our Crushed Curry arch. I'll just center that on there. There we go. And then just in the interest of fast, we'll use some seal and pop that on. Centered on our card front, just like that. And then I've got some of these, I don't even remember what these are called. These are another online exclusive embellishments. They're part of one of the suites that I featured a couple of weeks ago. My brain is shutting down. It's 8:30 and, you know, I'm done for the night. But there you go. But we're not done because I wanted to show you how much fun it is to decorate these little turtles. Okay, so this little guy, again, was die cut from the DSP. And if I do this, you're going to see how his arm kind of pops out? That's going to allow me to put his little apron on him. Look how cute. It's like paper dolls. Okay, so we're going to add, we're going to add a little seal. And we're going to give this guy an apron. Look at how sweet. And then we're going to give him a chef's hat because we can. So again, a bit of seal. Don't use liquid glue because the cut marks will be a little messy. Here we go. There's our little baker guy. And then he's going to have a cake in his hands for the birthday boy or girl, birthday person. And then, whoops, stay put. And then that whole thing is going to get stuck onto my layer to put inside my card. So we're going to add him just like that. And we're going to pop him inside our card. So stinking cute. I had paper dolls when I was a kid, and these little turtles remind me of them. There we go. There's our finished card. You like that one? So cute. All right. We got 2 more make and takes to go. In the home stretch, girls. Are you still there? I hope so. I put you all to sleep. All right. Where are we going now? Oh, cute, cute, cute. Okay, another online exclusive bundle. This is another one that I was like, oh, it's super cute, but I don't need it. And again, I should go with my gut, and if I like it, just get it, because I end up getting it anyway. Pop and buy. So this is for anybody. This is just not a kid one. And I got to say, this little dude here reminds me of the popcorn ads, the concession ads that you used to get when you go to drive-in movies when I was a kid. The little popcorn boxes marching across the screen. So super cute. Again, punny little sentiments. No one's better than you. Popping in to say hi. Just super stinking cute. And then, of course, we've got a small die set. So this is a really economical, reasonably priced bundle. Again, online exclusive. You won't find it in the catalog. So look in my online store. You'll find it. So we have our open dies that cut out our images, but then these guys actually layer so that you can cut textured pieces of popcorn. And you can actually cut the stamped images with this textured piece in as well. You're going to see that on some samples. And then, of course, we've got some 3D glasses and some sneakers, his Converse, to give him some style, some 50s, 60s popcorn style, and then a little film strip element as well. So super, super cute. So let me show you some samples. We're going to make one as well. Again, I had such fun with this. So here we go. There's one. So you can see here, I stamped and die cut the texture in my little popcorn guys. Look at how cute he is. Popping in to say hi. And then here I made a giant popcorn bowl. Again, I put my nerdy glasses on my little popcorn kernel instead of on the box this time. And what did I do? Oh, I just have my little popcorn kernels there. And then here's another one. No one's better than you. Look how cute that nerdy little popcorn dude is. Isn't he cute? So, so fun. And then we're going to make one. So let me set these aside and pull in my basket of goodies. We're going to make this little guy. This is a super, super cute, fun, quick card. All right. Look at, there's hardly any bits for this one. You know it's going to go fast when there's hardly any bits. All right, so I have a 4 by 5¼ inch piece of white cardstock. We're going to stamp our little popcorn kernels. We're going to do one of each little expression. There's 3 different shapes or expressions. And we're stamping them in Daffodil Delight ink. So it's a little bit truer yellow than the Darling Duckling. Darling Duckling is fairly green. So I wanted a little bit more true yellow here. So we're just going to stamp these little fellas coming down the side of our panel here, just like that. How could you not smile when you see these little guys? I think they're so cute. And then we're going to stamp our little pop, pop, pop in Pop, Pop, Poppy Parade. You see what I did there? All right, so there's pop and another pop, another pop. And then get that out of the way. Oh my goodness, I'm running out of, it's a little bit of a Jenga game happening here right now with all of my bits and pieces. Okay, so there is my little stamped guy in red. So this is stamped in Poppy Parade. I stamped just the top part in Daffodil Delight. We're actually going to do a little bit of paper piecing. So I'm just going to take my snips and I'm going to cut right along the edge of the top of my popcorn box, the red one. Okay, because I want my box to be red. So I'm just going to cut right along that scalloped edge there. Okay, so there's my box without popcorn. And then it's just simply a matter of layering that. And then we have a box of popcorn. Easy peasy. So I'm just going to put a little bit of seal on that yellow image. And we're just going to layer this. Just like that. There's my little box of popcorn. Isn't that cute? Now, I didn't like him having red eyes. I felt it looked a little, I don't know, possessed. So I'm going to take my black Stampin' Write marker and I'm just going to give him black eyes because I feel like that's a little bit less scary. Okay. And then we're going to add his nerdy little glasses. If I can get the backing off. Again, I used adhesive sheets on all of these. Look at him. Oh, so cute. All right. And then we have his little sneakers here. Again, adhesive sheets are your friend. Because Lord knows I would not want to be fussing with liquid glue on these. There's a lot of cut through detail on these shoes. Again, liquid glue just wouldn't work. You'll just end up with a mess. So glue dots or adhesive sheets are the way to go. There's my cute little nerdy popcorn dude. Isn't he cute? Oh, it's just a little bit of fussy cutting, Charlie. Just a little bit for the paper piecing. You certainly could do this without by using Stampin' Write markers, right, to color your image. So if you are not a fan of fussy cutting, do not despair. You can still do this card without having to fussy cut. All right, so we're going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back of our little dude here. And we'll kind of have him standing down on the bottom corner. And then I've got my sentiment. I just heat embossed this in white, and then I die cut it using one of the dies from the Textured Notes dies. And I'm just going to trim a piece of my edge here and run that across. And then this is just going to kind of slide in behind here. And hopefully, it's hard to get something on straight when you're not starting with it straight. Oh, close enough. Yeah, it's a little high on the left side. Let's see if we can, nope, we're not adjusting that. It is staying the way it is. All right. And then that's going to get layered on a piece of basic white, not basic white, basic black, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So quick little bit of seal. Are you impressed? Very few layers on this one. I hope you're all paying attention. Lena can make a card without 5,000 layers. It's not common, but I can. There you go. Isn't he cute? Super fun. All right, so that is the Pop and Buy bundle. And then last but not least, so we started with florals. And, sorry, I'm yelling. We started with florals and we're going to end with florals. Okay. So there are 2 gorgeous floral suites. One is in the catalog. We saw it earlier. This one, the Impressions, Floral Impression Suite, is an online exclusive. Okay. So if you don't need more flowers, if you're like me and don't need more flowers, you're probably saying, okay, Lena, don't show me anything because I don't need any more flowers. But let me just show you this pretty paper, because this pretty paper will work with other floral stamps you might have in your stash. So look at these gorgeous images. So pretty. I can't say anything more. Like, they're just stunning floral. So they're all, again, all hand painted watercolor. Look at these. Black-eyed Susans, Rebecca. We got some ferns and sunflowers. Look at these. So pretty. And then I love this sort of rainbow. Just gorgeous. Okay. And then on the back, once again, we have some more subdued patterns that really offset the busyness of the floral. So we've got a Darling Duckling grid. We've got a little bit of a brocade. It's in Fresh Freesia. A little bit of Pool Party. Some Garden Green. Some Strawberry Slush. And some Old Olive and a stripe. So more subdued on the back, stunning florals on the front. Like, come on, really. So pretty. But honestly, for me, again, it's the dies that really sold me on this suite. So we have lots and lots of dies. We've got these 2-step stamping images, again, that all can be cut out with the open dies. Now you're going to see I've got washi tape on here. So this is my little trick for when I want to cut just 3D flowers rather than cut out a stamped image. So the open die coordinates with the stamped image. But when I layer these and I washi tape them to hold them so that I can just whip them on and off really quickly if I'm doing multiples, I get these gorgeous textured die cut flowers. Okay. So 3 different flowers. Well, actually 4 if you count these little fan flowers. And then these itty bitty flowers. We've got stems, we've got leaves, we've got our flower centers, and then we have these beautiful large labels. So there's this large oval, and then this one that cuts out a smaller oval and a frame. Okay, so a beautiful, beautiful bundle. If you have to choose, I would choose the bundle over the paper. The paper's pretty, but the bundle is beautiful. Now, I also want to mention, I showed you this embossing folder, I think on the first card, but this is another online exclusive. You won't find this in the catalog. It's called Pressed Flowers. And again, it's that beautiful sort of detailed floral pattern. Okay, so that is not part of this suite, but it works really well with it. All right, let me show you a few projects and then we'll get to our last make and take before my voice gives out. It's just about done. I know, Kristen, no ribbon or bling. There was not a lot of ribbon on pre-order, so I had to limit myself. Okay. So here we go. So this is, these are stamped, these flowers. I've used the embossing folder in the background, some of the DSP. This is some new gorgeous ribbon that is part of the suite that I forgot to show you. Where did I put it? It's here somewhere. There it is. So this is the beautiful, what's it called? mesh ribbon. It's like this beautiful gold. Ties up like a dream. I love really sheer ribbon because it makes nice tight knots that are not bulky on the front of a card. And then we also have gorgeous embellishments, which I also forgot to show you. Show where my full pack is, but I'll pull these over. So these are shades of pink. So we've got like strawberry / pretty and pink. And then this is almost like a clear with little flecks of gold. And they're faceted. They're just gorgeous. So those are the embellishments in this suite. So there's one. Love this. Here's another one. So here I've used the sort of just the die cut flowers instead of stamped. And then here I fussy cut flowers from the DSP. And then here I had some fun with watercoloring. So I stamped on watercolor paper and then did some blending with different shades of purples and blues to get they kind of look like they're luminous there. Okay. And then this was just a quick little tag. I had all these little bits and bobs of die cuts left over. So I just threw this little tag together. These little frames, they're somewhere. I don't know where I put them. I'm not as organized tonight as I thought I was, clearly. But they're ephemera, and they're different sizes, large that are like card front size, and then smaller that work as a label. But I just whipped up this quick little tag because I had these little bits left over, and I thought, why not make a cute little tag? So there are some ideas with that suite. And we're going to make one more card. Of course, I saved the busiest one or fussiest one for last because, you know, I'm crazy like that. This is the one we're going to make. Got lots of little bits, but I do have some tips for how to make it go a little quicker so that we can all get to bed before midnight. All right. So we're going to start with our beautiful embossed background. So there is that pressed flowers embossing folder. Once again, look how gorgeous it is in white. Wouldn't that be a pretty wedding invitation? Just gorgeous. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's going to cover our entire card front. So we'll go ahead and glue that on first. So I'm going to fold my basic white card base in half. And then unfold and glue my panel on. Come on. So we'll just line that up right against the fold. That's why I like to burnish it first. I just find it easier to get the piece on straight. All right, so there is my card front. It's not pretty. I think it's pretty. Just stick a sentiment on there and you're done. All right, now I have some of the beautiful DSP, but I'm using the back side. And I've die cut one of the textured notes rectangles. And then I'm going to layer that on a piece of Pool Party cardstock. So this one is 3 3/8 by 4 7/8. So those are going to get layered just like that. Before we do that, we're going to add a little bit of ribbon. So this is another online exclusive. This white, it's just white 1/4 inch ribbon. It's super pretty. I'm going to layer it across just my Pool Party layer, my DSP layer here. And we're going to add a glue dot. Hi, Karen. They tell me retirement is awesome. I think I'm going to enjoy it quite a lot. I don't think I will have too many regrets, and I certainly will not have any difficulty keeping myself very, very busy. Whoops. Given that I'm currently working 2 almost full-time jobs, it will be really nice to just have one job for a while. All right, so we're going to wrap that around there, and then that is going to get layered. I'm going to use a little bit of seal here. So we'll pop that on. There we go. And then that is going to get layered on our card front. So we're just going to go ahead and glue that on, and then we will put together all of our little flowers. So we'll center that just about there. Okay. And then we are going to put all of these little bits and bobs together. So to start, I have my 3 little daisies here. These are just die cut using the dies. And I'm going to stamp the centers. So you can die cut the centers or stamp the centers. If you're in a hurry, you could not worry about anything and use an embellishment instead of anything else. So there is sort of a more solid image and a little bit of a detailed image. So I'm going to start with the solid image. I'm going to stamp off and then stamp in the center of each one of my little daisies. Now this is Lemon Lolly ink, so it's very, very light when it's stamped off. You probably can't even see any color. There you go. Little hint of Lemon Lolly there. And then I'm going to take the more detailed image and stamp full strength right over top. And that's just going to give me a little bit of depth. Okay, there's my little flower centers. All right, get that out of the way. Now we're going to assemble our daisies. So I've got these two little branches here. I'm actually going to cut these apart because I can use these as leaves, right? I don't need to use the full branch. I can cut them up and use them as individual leaves. It's a little bit less die cutting as you are putting these together. So I'm just going to throw a little bit of steel on the back of one of my daisies. Add a pair of leaves. Okay, again, a little bit of seal. We'll do one, a little more seal there to get that to stick. And two. And this last one, I think we'll put 3 on. I don't think we'll need to use this branch. We'll use these individual leaves instead. So we'll add a couple here. So there's 1, 2, one kind of come out the other side. There we go. There are our daisies. All right, now it's just a matter really of arranging these. So let's get these pieces out of the way. Now, these itty bitty flowers, they can be really fussy, but we're going to pull Patty Bennett. We're going to invoke Patty's trick here. And I'm just going to take and stick each one of these little teeny tiny flowers onto a glue dot. And that's effectively going to turn them into self-adhesive embellishments, right? So you don't really need to use any bling, even though I did, because these are kind of like embellishments. So we kind of take that place of the bling visually. So we'll just pop these onto the glue dots. Okay, and then we have a whole strip of little flowers that we can use. Now, before we arrange these, well, let's kind of get them placed to get an idea of where we want them to go. But we are going to stamp and punch our sentiments. So I got a little scrap of white cardstock here. And our sentiment's actually 2 different pieces, which allows us to easily do 2-tone stamping once again. So I'm going to start with my smoky slate. I'm going to stamp For Being There in the smoky slate. And then I'm going to come in with some Pool Party and stamp my thanks. I'm actually going to offset it a little bit. You certainly could line the, oh, of course I have to look straight down and I can't because I'm on camera. Okay, close enough. It's not perfect, but that'll do. And then I'm going to pop this out with the Labeled with Love punch. And I'm going to not quite center it. I want it to be a little bit off center. And then it's just a matter of sticking everything on. So a couple dimensionals for our label. We'll start with that. I always find it easiest to start with my label and then arrange everything else. So this is going to go just above our ribbon and offset a little. And then we'll add a daisy. So this little guy is going to kind of overlap our label. And then another one down here. And then one up top. Just like that. And then I'm going to come in with my little itty bitty yellow flowers here. These are Lemon Lolly cardstock. I don't know if I mentioned that. So we'll add some of these guys kind of tucked in around our larger flowers. Whoopsie. Tuck under. Don't you love it when the glue dot goes rogue? There you go. And then a couple more. And there. I have glue dots stuck to my take your pick, which is part of the problem. There we go. There is our cute little card. Now I couldn't resist using some bling. Now, honestly, I don't even know if these are still current. I know they're still on the website, or they were at the time I made this card. They may be on the last chance list. They were literally just sitting on my desk, and I'm like, oh, look, they're pool party. They will work. And so I stuck them on my card. I, make really, really complex design decisions based on whatever's laying on my desk at any given moment. All right, we're going to add a little bow. So this will restore your faith, Krista, in that I haven't completely, lost my mind or been taken hostage. I am adding bling and a bow on my last card, just so that it's me, not some, AI generated version of me. There we go. Let's add a glue dot to the knot of our bow. And we'll pop that on right there. There we go. You like that? All right, let's bring back all our projects. I think I got them together here. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm missing one. 6. Where's number 7? What did I? Oh, there he is. Our little popcorn dude. There we go. Oh, we're hiding. Hang on. There we go. There's all our projects. All right, girls, did you like those? I hope you did. I'm just going to go back to me for a minute. I'm going to scroll for a minute just and see if there were any questions that I maybe missed, because I was rather intently focused on getting through all 7 of these projects tonight. Let me just see. I'm going to go back to you. Okay. Hi, Diana. Hello, hello. All right, you're all liking the sweets. Oh, I bet, Janet, your granddaughter had a blast with the turtles. I bet. Or was it the popcorn? Maybe it was the popcorn. So I'm scrolling through comments, sort of not in real time. So, all right. Yeah, the popcorn guy from the movies is super cute. All right. It's okay. Sorry. Sorry, Louise. I don't want to make you buy more. It's hard to stamp one-handed right now anyway, right? All right. Thank you for joining me, everyone. Let me get back to me so I can say a proper good night. It's been 2 hours of talking and new products, and I hope you love them as much as I do. I hope you're okay with me showcasing some online exclusives. It is so, like I said, so easy to miss them when we're focused on the catalog, and there really are. And there's a lot more. I only showed you a few. I've got more on the way because couldn't order it all at once. So there's more coming. So watch for more from me in the coming weeks. So, next week, this time next week, I will be at Disney for the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip. So I will not be live next week. And I'm hoping I'll be live the following week. I should be. We come back on Sunday, so I should be able to whip something up for you and share some of the fun from our trip. So I will see you in 2 weeks. This was a great way to kind of leave you with some ideas for the next couple of weeks. And I will see you once again on the 20th of May. That'll be my next live at 5. Okay. Thanks for joining me tonight, everyone. I so appreciate you and you're joining and sharing in my excitement for all these gorgeous new products. Have a great week, and I will see you in 2 weeks for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.